Good morning, good morning. How are you? Hope you've had a good week so far and you're ready and raring to go. Just getting our bird song on, which is more than appropriate this morning because we're drawing birds in Biro. Hope you're all right. Oh, oh, do you know what? Hang on, it's still showing up as a boat. Apologies. This was yesterday afternoon's drawing class. Hang on a minute, bear with me. I'll be there in a second. Oh, it's Thursday mornings. I've been run off my feet this morning with people popping in and emails and phone calls and all of this manner of thing. And I'm trying to find my parrots that were here. I've just added them to this. Apologies. There we are. There's parrots. Morning, Janet. I'm all right, thank you. How are you doing? Was only thinking of you the other day, wondering how you were doing. Just getting ready with all the different aspects of this. I do apologise. Normally I do this off camera, but for some reason it decided to revert back to yesterday's boat picture. So apologies for the weird screen of like moving around of images. Not very professional of me, is it? But never mind. We know I'm not. So these are our parrots. You can see that I've sketched it out. I've traced it, to be honest. I've traced it. Let me just dull down the lighting a little bit. Let's wait a few more people to join. I think we've got a few possibly this morning, or they may join later, I'm not sure. But if you sketch it out, trace it out, you've got 10 minutes or so. Right, well, we've got our birds and we've got our nice macaw parrots, and I'll chat to you about biros. Oh, I've got another customer, and that will give you enough time to get it all sketched out. Back in a minute. Oh, I'm back. Jackie doesn't get in till about past, so it's sort of like, oh, free for all at the moment. So Biro art is really interesting, and it's taken off over the last few years, I suppose, 5 years maybe. It's brilliant because obviously everybody's got a biro knocking about, and it means that you can sketch. What's unique about biro? Obviously, people use. Can I find one now? I've always got one. Where you know when you have one of those mornings. Liner pens. You know you've got liner pens, pigment liner pens. They are solid, same flow. There's no variation at all between ink. It is just a solid, consistent flow of the same colour. You can't shade ink. That's why there are tones and shading techniques on that for hatching, cross-hatching, pointillist, all that kind of thing for solid pen and ink. With a biro, however, because it's more of a gel-based pen and it has a ball roller, it means you can vary the amount of ink that comes through, so you can use it in the same way as a pencil. Now the difference is that biros aren't light fast, so they will totally fade over time in bright light. So if you're ever going to do a biro that you really like the look of, a biro art, keep the original, make a print, and then frame the print. That's the best way round to do it all. And that's the way I would recommend. So you can vary your shading exactly the same way as you can with a pencil. You can vary the pressure and you get different depths of colour. And obviously that will work with any colour biro rather than just a black biro, but we're going to use a black biro today. That's just me knocking everything over with my elbow. An amazing biro artist, fairly young guy, younger than me, a British artist called James Milne. Milne, I think it's Mylne, James Milne, and he does the most amazing biro art. And it was sort of seeing his work that made me get interested about how to do it, and I didn't really understand or know about it. It's harder to do, but not impossible to do. And it does make a difference. The amount of tone and shade you can get in biro is phenomenal. So I've chosen Parrots because if it's not this exact colour, it doesn't matter because we're doing it in grayscale anyway, aren't we? And it will give you the chance to work out how to do darks, how to do lights. Now what I've done is I've just got a bit of card underneath my sketch pad here, because to get the darks you have to press down really hard. To get the lights you don't press down at all. So for example, if I wanted a really dark colour, I mean, I think James Milne goes through boxes and boxes of biro, or you can go through a whole box of 20 just to do one piece of art. So I'm just colouring in the darkest part first, and it will give you a bit of an idea of what you can do with the biro. So the darker one is the best option you can have to start on, because what it means is you can practice your shading. So if you wanted to try, because it's all going to be dark anyway, so if I vary the pressure, look how light I can get that. If I add pressure, I can go really dark. So, you know, because even the yellow's got to have a tone to it. So if we start with the darkest, if I was doing this in real life just for me, I'd probably start with a lighter colour. But to be honest, as I'm teaching you, I'm thinking, you know what, it's not a bad idea to start with the dark, because at least then you can play with the pressure. So I don't think camera 2 will pick up. Get my hand out of the way. Angling the pen varies the amount of ink flow as well. So sort of like if I go on the side, look, I can get hardly any colour at all. So if you have the pen on its side rather than upright. Let me move back to camera 1 just so you can see I've got the pen on its edge, and that will give me lighter tone, and then you can just keep building up. The blackest you can go is black. Obviously you can't get any darker than black, but that's the same in paint, isn't it, or pencil. But with a Biro you've got the equivalent of a 2B to a 9B pencil all in one go. Now I've also chosen a bird today, or birds, because it means that we've got pencil lines that are showing through, and they're little short strokes, so it's perfect for learning shading. Because it's feathers. My brain's not working this morning. Apologies, my words are not coming out as they should. I'm having a bit of a morning. I'm not used to the shop's been the busiest this morning in terms of browsers and customers than we've had for months, and it's, well, since before lockdown, to be honest. It's a little bit tricky to know what's best to do, because I don't like abandoning you all too much, but equally I can't afford to keep paying people just to sit in an empty shop on the off chance. But I know you don't mind. I know you don't mind. I just feel bad. So that's quite dark. And we can maybe bring that round. So we're just adding pressure to get the dark. Where we don't want it dark, we'll add less pressure. But we'll do, if we do all the dark bits, so that's the bit around the eye, maybe the pupil. There's a little light spot in there. It's looking like a parrot already, and we haven't done anything, so that's good. And then these sort of little flecks of feathers. Because we know these are the darkest. So what this will do for us, hopefully, it will give us this idea and more of a plan. But also we know then that we can't go any darker than these darks. So everything else has to be light. So our yellow will have to, well, obviously the white will be the lightest. Well, you know, I've seen Biro art done in blue biro. I've seen it done in red biro and green biro, as well as black biro. So actually, it doesn't really matter because it's still monochromatic. And you know what, Janet? I reckon a blue biro will look beautiful for these birds. I really think it would, because it's looking at the different tones. So if you look here, the blacky green is the darkest. It's more of a green than a black. Then in terms of, so the black and the beak, dark. The lighter blue, the blue is going to be the next dark. Then the greens is going to be the next dark. Then the shadow on the yellow. Then the yellow. We're not going to bother with the background. I'm not that mean. Not today. I'm going to go inside his beak. But there is a little area there of... they've got a weird tongue, haven't they? It looks like stone. So I'm going to do the dark bit, and I'm going to see if I can show you how to vary the pressure. Now, to get solid black areas, you just keep working over the same spot. And it'll be the same for the eye, because the eye, you see, what's tricky is that the eye isn't white. Mind you, with the pen on its side, don't forget, we can almost sketch very light. I don't know. Have you noticed I'm whispering for lighter tones, and I'm very deep. For I go all full on Brian Blessed. For the dark tones, we'll press down hard, and for the soft tones, we'll go very lightly. I don't know why I do that. Is it my primary education days, Janet? Probably. Does it make me look unhinged? Almost definitely. So very light pressure. Hold the pen further up as well as on its side, and that will just, you're almost, I suppose, wiping off the gel off the edge of the pen in this with this method. See if I go to camera 2, maybe you can see the tones a little bit more. I mean, technically, if you've got lots of biros and some of them are running out of ink, that would work well, wouldn't it? Because you can do the faded bits with the ink running out, and you can do the darker inks with a full pen. Now you can see this is an old biro, there's hardly any ink in here, but it's still given me quite a lot. I might have to dig around for a new, I've just had to order some more biros. If I get the beak, I suppose we said would be the next darkest thing on here, didn't we? So we'll give that, the darkest part is this bit. And we're doing angled shading, or sometimes it's known as bracelet shading. If you shade the direction of the object, so here it's quite dark there, And this is even darker here. So don't be frightened, you can outline. But to get this sort of bone and semi-reflective look, quite scratchy as well, just blobbed. Can you see that black blob? The hardest part with Biro is that you can't get rid of it once you've put it on. However, this means that you can build up your skills and hide and stop the fear of working in Biro or pen in general. You know, if you're quite tentative with how you work, you might find that you're scared of putting pen onto the paper because of the fear that you can't get rid of it. But the more you work in a biro or a permanent pen, the more you become more free with your brush strokes or your pen strokes. And even though you know you can't get rid of them, you learn how to turn those blobs into texture or form or shape. You see, that's darker underneath there, so I'll press down a bit harder, then almost blend that away. As I say, you can spend hours upon hours with just a biro. And the reason why I'm showing you this is the fact that obviously the way society is at the moment, and it's more of a, even at the moment today and over the next coming weeks, you know, we'll be in another national lockdown. Will we not be in a lockdown, but will shops be closed again for a few weeks? We just don't know anything. So I'm trying to show you as many interesting skills that you can do, that if you find yourself, obviously our online shop will always stay, so you'll never be out of art supplies as long as we can get them in, which is still proving quite difficult actually. We've got some companies that still haven't made anywhere near enough, and we've been out of stock of certain products for 5 months. But anyway, you've always got a biro to hand, so whether you're in a queue somewhere, or whether you're feeling a bit stressed and you're sitting in watching All Creatures Great and Small. I've got to watch this week's episode yet. Absolutely loving it because it's vintage and everything that I love, and rural scenery. Absolutely loving it. If you've got a little pad and even just a biro, doesn't matter what colour, you can sketch and you can do and you can create. So I want to show you all of these different things just to help you with your mindfulness and mental health during this time, to show that you don't need to sit with 32 colours of paint and brushes and water and everything else. All you need and all you can get by with is just a biro. And as I say, you've probably got them knocking around in your handbag or your pockets or your desks or anywhere that you don't use them very often, because we don't do a lot of writing anymore, do we? It's nearly all texts or emails. So we've got pens that are just there. hold this up a bit closer to the camera just so you can see how he's looking. Not perfect, but it's given me something that I can then slowly move my colours on. Now obviously we've only been doing this for half an hour, well 20 minutes really, and we're already beginning to develop and look at tone and shape. And you know, we can build it up. The hardest thing that you might find is, right, now that's just happened to me. I've blobbed because I did a dark bit and then I went to go into a light bit at the same time, and there was still just a globule of dark gel ink on the ball of the pen. So you might find it's actually better to wipe excess off, because this is sort of the next tone, isn't it? Obviously I'm not really expecting you all to keep up with me. So the blue is the darker. So for the blue feathers, that has to be lighter than the dark, but not as light as the yellow will end up being. So it's a matter of playing around with the tone. You can probably hear on the microphone. I'm not pressing lightly, but I'm angling the pen. So I'm pressing down hard. I mean, what's good with this, to be fair, is that you can make it as smooth and as beautiful as you want by building up and going over and going over. Or you can make it look more of a sketchy biro thing, that there's actually no right or wrong with this. And that's a lovely thing, I think. And you can see the parrot starting to emerge. So it's just good to play. So we're probably only doing what I would say is the today, because of time. I haven't got the time to keep you here for like 6 or 7 hours. But what we're doing is the level 1 or the stage 1 of a biro artwork. in that we're putting the colours in, or the tone in, but then we'll be leaving it, well, I'll be leaving it because of the time factor, and I've got another class to prepare for. Whereas if I was doing this, I don't get any commissions in Biro, weirdly, but I don't really promote myself as it, so that'll be why. I would then spend a few more hours gradually working over the top in different varying tones, because don't forget the yellow is the lightest colour. We don't want the yellow to be white because we're keeping the background white and it's not a white parrot, so we need the blue to be there, and it can't be that light, it just can't be. Because of the yellow. So keep adding little bits on there and change the pressure. Hello, good morning. Oh, how lovely. Is it too big for you to bring up? That's all right. I'm just Janet. I'm just nipping to bring a box. We've had some a delivery and we need it upstairs. Yeah, Biro art. I can only find this. I've just had to order a box of Biros because we haven't got any black ones knocking about.
You don't have any turquoise or yellow?
What? No, but Janet's using a blue Biro. She picked it up by mistake, and I said, actually, that's a really good one to go with. For you to work out the prices, and
yes.
That's got glow in the dark pom poms. I'm telling them downstairs about that, and I think Kathy wants 2 skulls. I'm back. I forgot. I didn't tell them about the bat. Well, let's show them what we've got.
Pass me the knife.
Scalpel. Stat. It is amazing how quickly it starts to build. So we'll probably do Parrot 1 for the first hour, Parrot 2 for the second hour. So I'm still only thinking about the blue and the green feathers on this one, so I'm looking all over just to see where they are. Obviously on the bird is one of the answers. We've had some glow in the dark pom-poms, Janet. You know, like little craft pom-poms. Jackie's just trying to see how they glow. It is too light in here. Have to go in the little back kitchen room.
Okay, yes.
And we've got glow in the dark card, and I was saying, oh, pumpkin mugs. We've basically what we've done. You're going to hear me saying random words at the moment. Is we've started getting some more sort of like children's crafty bits, paint your own ceramic pots and tea light holders and things ready for Halloween and Christmas. Because we don't really cater for that, and you know, we've got to up our game more so. With Hobbycraft having a much bigger presence than we have, and a much more affordable presence than we have. But it's quite fun. We ordered some skull ones. I'll double check. I thought we just ordered 3. We'll have a look on the delivery note. It should be in there. The box is upside down though. The writing's the wrong way up, but the label's the right way up. They will. We've got the glow in the dark card is quite interesting, so I'm hoping that we've got that in.
We've got the card.
Don't say we don't. Is it on the delivery note?
I haven't found a delivery note.
Check. You have to find the email. Otherwise, we'll have to order some more. I mean, we're a month away from Halloween, so.
Well, the skull promising you may go for a skull in a bat. You never know.
Because we're down to 1 skull. They're tea light holders. It's just A4 card that you can go in the printer. We've ordered some packs of it, and I was thinking really with our photocopy we'd have to, if we did it so the letters were white and the background was black, then you'd have glow in the dark letters. But we have also got glow in the dark sticky moons and stars at 6p each. Fun stuff. Paint your own ceramic pumpkin holders and gnomes. I can show you. I did a gnome, but it's at home. But I've done me as a gnome. We did order 3, didn't we?
On the thing that says thank you for the order, it's not mentioned. So
Maybe
assumed in it.
we're gonna have to. We can spend minimum orders 20. Maybe we're gonna have to get some in then.
Yeah, well, you might find that person would like a bat instead, because I mentioned a bat.
It's violet. So we're building up the tone slowly.
We've also got non-spooky tea light holders.
Yeah, we have got non-spooky tea light holders, but we've also got stuff ready for Christmas of little gingerbread men money boxes, and we've got glitter galore. Yeah, we have got glow in the dark paint still, but we've really gone to town on the glitter. We held off glitter whilst trying to find eco glitter, but if I'm honest, we couldn't afford the eco glitter. It's just so expensive, and actually not that eco, it turns out. And we were going to get eco glitter card that was actually recyclable, but the company that manufactured it stopped manufacturing it because of issues. So I'm now doing some shadow darks where the yellow is, which is slightly darker still. So you can hear I'm still scribbling away in the direction of the feather growth, but it's darker than the white. But not as dark as the blue or the green. And by doing little short strokes, it sort of mimics. Are you printing that off? I wonder why they didn't send us a list. But I didn't know which way to bring the box up because if you look, the logo is on upside down, but the labels are the right way up. Sorry, student. Very rude of me to have a conversation without you lot knowing what's going on. So while the classroom's closed, it's kind of a storeroom. It's amazing how to build up the tone with just a biro. As I said, you may have all seen, those of you that have been to the classroom, you may have seen that I had a biro painting of some baby birds in a nest in a frame, and I had to take that out of the frame because after a year it faded to a pale insipid brown, even though it was a black biro, and it meant that I couldn't ever sell it, which is a shame. What I'm just working on here is actually the shadow of the other parrot, which has to be a little bit darker still. So it's a good way of getting tone for certain, working on parrots. And I was only going to do the one parrot, and I thought, you know what, we can do two. You're all highly skilled, really. I thought it made it more of an interesting subject matter, just having two parrots. Building up slowly. You can see we've got different tones coming in. So I might have to darken everything as we progress, and it's only because it's hard to know because that yellow, well, the white's the lightest, isn't it? So the yellow still has to be tinted, and it's not like you can smudge with your finger like you can with other things. a light bit there. So I'm going to leave the really light bits. So you might find a scrap bit of paper works well, because as you've been using it on the side, it can totally run out of ink and then you need another bit. But that's where, if you notice, I've just done a little bit of this dark part of his leg to help the ink flow back again from being on its side. Well, you know, I don't know if you can smudge it with your finger. I've never. Oh, maybe you can if you've got a sweaty finger. You can smudge it a fraction, look. It will smudge, but only while the ink's wet. Now suddenly my pen's decided to only do dark lines. And I'm going to leave quite a lot of the yellow actually white. So when I do the bits, I'm just going to go with a light shade in and amongst it. Rather than fully shade it. Because that will help with the tonal variations. And it won't matter that bits of it are white. So I might just darken elements of this now to get the tone. In a couple of minutes I will break for coffee and make Jackie a drink as well, because I'm nice, despite what she says. I'm actually really lovely. Jackie's just unearthed a box of orange matchmakers. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch.
Okay. That's different.
Well, I think that looks alright. Looks like a parrot, doesn't it? I'm reluctant to darken this shadow of the beak and other parrot. It's quite addictive that you want to keep building up the tone. Right, so it's 11 o'clock, time to put the kettle on. Right, I'm back. Oh, the bird song's finished as well. We're getting there. We're getting there.
I mean, she can use a different surface for the hair if you want, sure.
Yeah, we can post one. Okay, so it's just me and you then, Janet, isn't it? But you're probably still making a drink. Although I've lost signal, so I can't see how many is watching. Is watching? Are watching? Am watching. Okay. I'll build up a little bit, and then we're just going to do exactly the same for parrot number 2, or penguin number 2, depending on who you are. So there is a bit of a tongue in there, isn't there? So we'll stick to doing the darks first. Biros are such useful tools, they really are. So keep the darks. Do the really interesting patterns on the white areas. You might find that as this progresses, you'll feel a little bit more gung-ho about it all. And you'll just be going, oh, we'll just do some dark here and we'll do a bit of dark there. I think we'll have more people joining on this afterwards when they see it.
See how thinning it is.
Absolutely. This is a really dark green on this bird. It starts off with a blue-black, and then when it comes to about here, it's more of a green colour, which is still darker than the other colours. It does. I do have to say, now obviously this is not sponsored by any brand, but you know how much I love a Bic Biro lid, and I do find a Bic Biro is much easier to work with doing Biro art. And actually, James Milne, who I was talking about, the Biro artist, he only uses Bic. I think he uses the Bic yellow handled ones, which are the fine point, but he does massive. You ought to give him a Google. James Milne, and I'm sure it's Mylne. I may have shown some of you in class before the Biro horse, or Kate Moss. He's done a £5 note using a green Biro. He's so skilled. I mean, I'm not doing it anywhere near as he would. I mean, you think it's just a black and white photograph when James does it. But then we're trying to do it in 2 hours. I'm talking to you while, and interestingly, I've asked him over the years to do stuff for the Art Society, but he always refuses because he says he doesn't know how to explain how he does it, and he's not confident in teaching. So quite a few artists like that. And we can start working on the blues. Well, beak, then the blues, I think. A quick sip of tea. Yeah, with a Y. James Milne. Jackie, can you find the link to James Milne's website and post it in the group, please?
Yeah.
I think he might be in his 30s now.
What is that name?
Mylne, isn't it? James Milne. If you put James Milne Biro, it'll come up.
Didn't know it was with a Y.
I've just said it with Y about 4 times when I've been spelling it.
Wow,
Shows how much you listen to me, you know. I know you don't listen. Oh, I don't know. What's it like, eh? Got a member of staff here that never listens to me. Thanks for the matchmakers, though.
Okay.
Posted it in the live feed.
I will do.
Thank you.
Some of them are a bit saucy.
Yes, some of them are a bit saucy, but you know, we're grown ups. We can cope with a bit of boob and a bit of shoulder and stuff because it's art, so it's okay. The horse one's the best, though, I think. Did that a few years ago. I refused to believe it was done in Biro. I had to really have a good old zoom in. I think a few of my students were at my art history course when I was doing about Hokusai. Gosh, he did some really rude work.
Oh yeah.
The Fisherman's Wife's Dream is the rudest thing I've ever seen. I think, Janet, you were at that one. I had to put a little censor over some of it. Make me blush. I think that's the rudest art I've ever shown in art history. Anyone watching it now is frantically Googling.
So do you think it was invented in 1963 like Philip Larkin said?
But I was shocked to think that it was considered an art form.
I think people got more prudish with time, not less prudish.
Well, yeah. It seems that way. So the beat's full of like different tones and patterns, so having more of a scratchy feel on the biro for the beak is all right. But like with drawing, this is all about tone. So you might find that as you get darker or add other parts to it, you have to go, oh, actually, that needs to be darker because that's not standing out, or that needs to be lighter because that's not standing out. But you can't lighten, so you can only darken. And that's where it gets a little bit annoying. So it's always best to build up your layers. Doing well for time, that's good. Sorry, I was just realised I was slurping my tea there. How uncouth. At least I didn't go. I'm not going to do the white face or the white feathery bits. I am going to work my tone like I said we were going to for the first parrot, but then I didn't. So I'll do all the darker feathers first, which will be the blues after this one. Which don't want to be as dark again as the blacks. They need to be the next tone. Oh, we need to fix the shop now button on the Facebook page. We need to work around Facebook's new thing. So we have, obviously on our Facebook page there's a shop now button, which has for the last 6 months served to help you all book classes and buy stock and all of that kind of thing. However, Facebook is now developing its own online shop, and what we found is it's not allowing us to post our own online shop, only their online shop, which I'm not going to pay for because I've already got an online shop. And so it's causing a little bit of issue. So our shop now button actually isn't working, and we need to fiddle and work out how to make it work or sub-navigate it through other means. Which I might do. Facebook is extremely useful. However, being extremely business-minded as they are, which, you know, you've got to applaud, they're realising the way that the world is changing, and they're trying to make the niche, because their aim is to have people not just visiting Facebook, they want people on there all day, every day, which is where the confusion for this live music was. What they don't want, apparently, because I've been researching this because I was worried if I could do live streams or not, but apparently what they want is they want people to be entertaining like a TV show. They don't want just DJs or people just to put a playlist and just listen to songs so you can go along and do your own thing. That Facebook's aim is to have you there glued to your screen, whichever it is, and just never leave. So like an advertiser's dream. It's Facebook is basically, they want to be the new TV, online TV thing. So they want as much entertainment as possible rather than just music streaming like Spotify and that kind of thing. So that's where the confusion has been from people in my other industry, in the entertainment world. So it's all interesting, and fair play to them. They're really going for it all. Oh, you can't see this bit of the bird. Sorry. There we are. Drawing away, and then I realise you can't actually see what I'm drawing. Now, we normally don't order Christmas stock until round about October, November time, but I'm trying to preempt Boris, which is no mean feat, I can tell you. and preempt any possible closures of anything, so we can keep our stock supplies going. It worked for me during the first bit of January, February, March. So I'm hopeful that I can continue to be canny for the rest of this year, and possibly next as well, let's face it. I've got glitter. Why am I covered in glitter? I haven't touched any glitter today.
It just comes out your pores now.
Do you know that it's the best description?
So arty crafty.
I sweat glitter. You know,
out of the pores of your skin.
I read a really interesting thing about the spread of COVID. I shouldn't really talk about COVID because we're trying to escape, but it's really interesting and it is related to art. On how COVID spreads in a room, and it's like you've got 6 people in a room doing craft supplies. One person is using glitter. How many people are covered in glitter at the end of the session? And it's true, you only have to have one person in the room with a bit of glitter and everybody goes home in it. So it's a really good creative way to explain how viruses can spread in a crowd by the use of glitter. Honestly, my parrots are sparkling.
A bath bomb with glitter in it, and she was still finding glitter in the bathroom rug, like after several washing. Still finding bits of the glitter. Months later, it's a gift that never stopped giving.
Yeah, did she see it like that?
I'm sure she did.
Yes, we'll say she did. Okay. Oh, he's coming on, isn't he? Parrot, it's Mr. Cadbury's parrot. Don't see him anymore. The Cadbury's mini eggs. Maybe he's just on Black Country television.
The accent sounds like
Well, it was Black Country, the parrot. Well, the man. Yeah. You have Rocky Robin in Newcastle, that's correct. You could have done this today. I think you'd have enjoyed this. Jackie said yes for the benefit of the camera. She nodded her head. What do the the fluorescent, the glow in the dark card, what do they come in packs of? 15?
It comes in packs of 15. I've worked you out a price per sheet, and it's
I think we need to sell it per pack.
per pack.
Do you think? I don't know. How much?
It works out expensive per pack. I think it works out like.
How much is it per sheet then?
70p.
70p. Well, I think that's.
Like £11.
I think 70p for a glow in the dark card sheet.
It works out £11 or something like that for 15 of them, off the top of my head.
Okay, we'll split some of the packs then.
Yeah.
Because we'll need a sheet. Yeah.
3 sheets, then I think it might work better like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's not expensive per sheet. It's just whether you want 15. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
Having a very good decoration in a very big room, I think, or sending lots of cards.
Yeah, I guess. Well, we'll do it per sheet then.
I think we'll be having quiet Halloween. Have to trick or treat each other in your group of 6 or something.
Yeah, and we'll trick or treating work this Halloween.
It won't.
I think we need to get our pumpkins and stuff on the online shop, don't we?
So we'll have to do it. We'll have to do quiet. So it would be nicer to have a quiet Halloween.
A quiet Halloween.
A traditional thing at home, maybe. Just dress up at home.
We used to do that though.
I did, yeah.
As a kid, I was always dressed up.
it's a big thing in the northeast. Even
It's big. It was a big thing in my house.
people
My mother
think
was
it's-
mad for Halloween.
I mean, I've seen pictures of people in the 50s and the Sylvester.
Yeah, Halloween was massive in our family. My mum would make a big
Scottish and Irish
spell book cake, and we'd have decorations, orange and black streamers across the ceiling, apple bobbing in the dining room.
Yeah.
We'd have Halloween party.
I think it's going to be more family, isn't it? This year.
But you know what? I actually think this pandemic has made people possibly appreciate family more. You know, I've only seen my family once this year. Well, since lockdown, and that was on a beach where I got sunburned, if you remember. And I was hoping that I could see them again, but there's already 4 or 5 of them in their house, and I'm a bit... I don't know about travelling all that way.
Maybe some people think I'd not see it.
Well, you know, it depends. I think it's made people reassess a lot of choices. You know, it's more of do I need or do I want? And I think people's shopping habits have definitely changed.
They're going to have as much fun at home painting pumpkins and things.
Oh, I think so, absolutely. I mean, we've sold nearly 30 of these ceramic pumpkins.
I think do a nice little thing at home.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's nice. So I'm on my yellow bit now.
Do apple bobbing or something.
Apple bobbing, I was rubbish at that because of my overbite. I nearly drowned.
Well, my mum made us stand on a chair and throw forks at it instead of biting into it. She thought it was really unhygienic. So that might be useful.
Kind of.
That might be useful tip.
Yeah, apple bobbing.
With apple bobbing, when I was a child,
throw forks at it.
We used to kneel on a chair facing over the back of it and try and steal one.
You know, I hadn't thought about that, but if you're all in the same bubble or household, it should be alright, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you notice we've turned into QVC now, literally, in the last few minutes? Or that the Victoria Wood TV show, you know, where she was like, oh, I love him.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, I love him. Some on the shaded yellow. This is looking alright. Don't forget your drink if you made one, because that was half an hour ago. There we go. It's getting there. I am going to do a little bit of the rope that they're on, because I think they need to sit on something, don't they? That's tonight.
Okay. Well, if you've made every effort.
No, I know. I'll try again.
I mean, I guess you may end up having to refund it.
Right, so I'm going doing the shaded parts now. Shaded parts of the yellow. But notice I'm letting the biro run out where I can. Keep it light. I hope you're enjoying this, Johnny. I know it really is hard for if you're a close family. It's difficult for. I mean, I see, or up until March, I saw my sister every single month. Either she'd be up or I'd be down. And it's interesting that there hasn't been a single COVID case in Banbury and surrounding villages for 10 weeks here. So we must be doing something right as an area. probably because we're quite rural. Maybe, I don't know. But 10 weeks without a case is a pretty amazing, and I'd hate it for me to nip to Dudley to visit my sister and come back with it. I'd be a bit annoyed about that. And then I'd give it Jackie, and you'd be annoyed. And then I'd give it some customers maybe, and it's amazing how quickly it spreads, really. I mean, my sister understands I'm more panicky than she is about it. But then I'm panicky about everything, aren't I? So nobody's surprised that I panic. In fact, people are more worried when I don't panic. They think I'm ill. I think it's worth having another go. I mean, maybe you'll want to do something more simplified, but I would stick to birds for now, or animals. And the only reason why I say that is it's much easier to do the kind of feather or fur strokes and vary your tone and pressure than trying to do something really smooth or solid. So I think this is a really good exercise. And we've still got a good 20 odd minutes to go, so I'll be doing the face and leave a little bit of white going through that. Don't want to go too dark, because if we go too dark with the shading and the yellow, then we have to darken the greens and we have to darken the blues. But then, it's the same in pencil or any medium, even in paint. The whole art world is a process. I was chatting to somebody the other day about classes and what have you, and they said, oh, £5 for an online class, that seems really, well, reasonable or actually cheap. And I said, but the problem is, it's really hard to gauge. I'd rather have more people do it for a £5 than fewer people for less. And also, art education, and Jackie knows I had a rant about it the other day, that there was, I'm a member of a number of art groups on Facebook, artist groups, and there's people on there, there are artists on there, some beginners, some not so, some really professional ones, and then there are people on there that talk about, oh, I was asked to work for free, and I'm not happy, people aren't valuing my art. And then the same sort of artists will go, I want to learn how to do more art, can anybody recommend any free tutorials, because I don't want to pay for it. So they're not valuing art education at all. And I ended up having to say something about that, and it's a shame. You wouldn't expect to learn anything for free, really, and you shouldn't expect to learn for free. I mean, a lot of us give freebies mainly to provide an idea of our teaching style, so you can see what it's like. As much as I would love to make all art education free, I have to eat. Baked beans aren't free, are they? And it's a shame that even artists don't value their own education in the same way as they value their own self-worth in terms of art that they produce. Obviously that's not all artists, I'm just saying from the experience that I had with several artists on a social media page. And it's amazing how prevalent it is. I see lots of them say, oh, where can I get cheap supplies from? Where can I get cheap this, cheap that? They, of all people, they're the ones that shouldn't be wanting cheap. But again, it's amazing how many people don't understand the materials that they use. They don't know what light fast is, or what opaque is, or what transparent is, or how permanent the work is. Like I said to you with this Biro piece, if you like it and it turns out really well, don't sell the original because it will fade really quickly on a wall. Get a decent print, and if you can get a good quality print done, I think Mick started doing prints now properly, and James at Learnhow, who used to be in the cellar also, he started doing prints, and the ink on that lasts 70 to 80 years. So, you know, on a biro, on a paint, an original biro art on a wall will last 5 to 7 years, whereas the print of the biro will last 70 to 80 years. It's a no-brainer, really. But everybody's just always after cheap or free or quick, and that's sad. And it's not just because I'm in that line of work myself. I think you have to value what people do. You'd never ask a plumber, oh, I can't afford it, so can you do it for free? Can you fix my plumbing, my central heating for free, and it'll be good exposure for you, because I'll talk about it on my Instagram page. We get messages all the time. We've had one on Shop Instagram recently saying, oh, I'm an artist, are you after somebody to promote your work for free? Like, no actually, because I do that myself. Artists just want free, and they think having 400 followers on Instagram means that art shops will give them loads of supplies for free. Now, unfortunately, we can't afford to do that, because we don't get anything for free. Which I've said before, you know, even from the big manufacturers, they won't give us any samples. So if we want to try something out before we sell it, we have to buy it ourselves. But you see, artists don't realise that. They think because we own an art shop, we're rolling in it, and we can get whatever we want as fast as we want it. Nope. Even though we've got thousands of followers on YouTube, and we've got hundreds of followers on social media, hundreds and hundreds of students all over the world, we're not seen as influential. So I'm going really light here, so there's hardly anything on my biro. It's just a smudgy tone. Blobbed again. You see, this biro's done really well. I mean, it has run out of a lot of ink. You can see at the start of the lesson it was there. Now there is none. I have a stick, but I've still got enough ink because I don't need to do too much more, so I'll have enough for today. So this picture is using about a little finger's width per picture of ink. So I suppose 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get about 9 or 10 biro pictures, A4 size, with this level of ink out of one biro. So for like what? So how much is a biro? 45p, a bic, something like that, isn't it? 45p. I know they were 30p 20 odd years ago when I used to work in stationery. So they must be about 40, 45p a pen now. I've waffled a lot this morning, haven't I? Sorry. I've gone from black lead to black pudding. But as I say, my main advantage of doing these lessons is that I can see what I'm doing on this screen. So even when the classroom reopens, goodness knows when that will be, maybe next January, maybe next spring, I have no idea. I mean, technically, legally, I can open the classroom today, but I don't feel comfortable doing that because I would have to insist that you all wore masks, and trying to expect you to wear masks for 2 to 3 hours at a time is, I think, unfair. I've got all the system in place, and also, if I'm really being selfish, the level of cleaning I would have to do on a Thursday in between 3 classes would mean that I wouldn't eat and I wouldn't be able to serve customers or anything, because we'd have to strip everything down, disinfect every table, every chair, the back of every chair, every touch points, all of the door handles, all of the handrails, all the mugs, everything that was being touched. And if we provided art materials, we'd have to then sterilise them all or buy more to accommodate it for everybody else. So selfishly, it would mean me and Jackie would have like hours of work to do in between each class, and the prices would have to go up to reflect that, which is really not what we want to do. But regardless, the online classes are going to stay forever and ever and ever because they're really good fun. And I love the fact that, you know, for the first time in my whole career, I'm able to reach a wider, almost worldwide audience, which is just magical for me. It's what I've wanted all my life. And I know it's not ideal for those of you that are used to being in the classroom. Oh good, I'm glad, Janet. Sometimes me waffling, some people have said that it does help them because it just makes them feel a bit more involved and hearing more human voices and stuff. I don't know. Somebody actually said I was soothing. A soothing voice. I've never been called that before. Gleed under a door, maybe. That's a black country phrase. Jackie, you won't know what that means, will you? Voice like a gleed under a door. Have you heard that in Geordieland? No. Gleed is like a rubbish bit of coal. And if you can imagine a bit of coal caught under the door on a tile as you open it, it's like grating. So if someone says in the black country, oh, you've got a voice like a gleed under a door, it's not a compliment. Don't hear the word gleed. I think it's Glead. Google it, see what it is.
Okay. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it.
I think it's an old. Most of black country stuff is old English, isn't it? I learnt the other day on TikTok why we say 15, not 15. Apparently, thief is old English instead of 5. We used to say thief. So it'd be 15. Oh, Janet, these online classes have been a lifeline for us, to be honest. I mean, not only have we got the joy of people from all over the country and all over the world joining us, but we were, before COVID, if I'm 100% honest, we were really in two minds what to do with how to expand the business.
It's an archaic word for a live coal.
A live coal, archaic, still used in the Black Country though, so not archaic. And we were even looking at possible facts that we might have to leave here and rent an extortionate place in the town centre somewhere to give us a bigger classroom, but that alone wouldn't actually give us any profit, because we'd be spending all of our time paying the rent, which would cost us 4 times more, but only get 3 or 4 more students in the room. And we'd sought business advice. Nobody could give us any, because they said, well, you're already on all social media, you're already well known in the area, we can't actually advise you at all in any improvements in your business other than possible relocation. But none of them had mentioned online. So when COVID hit, it's sort of well, how can we keep the students creative, and how can we keep an income stream coming in? So that's when we decided to trial it. And I wish we'd done it years ago. I really do, because we've had the technology for 4 years, but not the same level of incentive, I suppose. Makes all the difference. So I'm slowly just building up tone. Technically, I suppose you could use a white gel pen over some of these areas if you wanted to relighten them, but I don't think it would stay white. I think it might even go into the realms of a pale grey, because the white gel pens tend to absorb the Biro ink. I don't know how waterproof Biro is. It's fairly waterproof, I think, because it's a gel-based ink. You can see I've turned this into sort of a branch rather than a cord, just because I want to, and I can. And as I say, I think more people will join in. The copper vase that we did last Thursday evening, it was only me and one person doing the class. But since then, we've had loads of people who saw it advertised and decided to have it a go and try it out. So it's wonderful. The fact that we can keep these lessons and people can just dip in and dip out. I really don't think I can do any more without totally just covering everything in Biro, because there's not really much of a background. Clearly these are parrots in captivity. Because the background looks very man-made, doesn't it? Like they're in a display or something. Well, hopefully it's turned out better than you thought, and it's given you a bit more of a practice with what you can actually do with just a biro by varying the pressure and changing the angle of the pen or the tone of the pen, and to give you a much wider variety. I mean, we've got a lot here that oh, well, there you go. I must have second guessed you, Janet, with the gel pen. That you can do a lot. If we tried to do this with just a pencil, for example, where we would really struggle unless we'd got a really expensive brand would be to get the dark darks dark enough so they were almost black, which you can do with the sort of Caran d'Ache 9B graphite sticks and what have you, which are like £5 each, I think. So it's possible, but even then it wouldn't be as black as this. So being able to work in such a variety of shades without switching pens and just with changing shadows or pressure or angles, it's absolutely amazing, I think. Oh, I'm filling in bits and I'm off the page again, sorry. And hopefully you can see how you can still build up the layers. Make things a little bit darker if you need to. And I hope you'd also agree that you wouldn't know that that was necessarily done in Biro if I take a photograph of it and do a bit of jiggery pokery with it maybe. As I say, I haven't spent a long time on this because I'm teaching you, so if I was going to get lost and absorbed in this, I reckon I'd spend another 2-3 hours on this, just really slowly building up the tone and the layers to get a much wider variety of shading and more solid areas of shading. But it's a lot less messy if you look at the side of my hand compared to when I work in pencil. It's only slightly grey rather than covered. Oh, and it's almost coming to 12 o'clock. Sometimes it looks like I actually plan these lessons, doesn't it? There have only been a couple of lessons so far since we started going online, because they are shorter online, and I've worked out that the half an hour time that's made these classes shorter is that often we don't get people turning up on time to the class, so we're waiting 10, 15, 20 minutes. Then there's the 20 minutes drawing, but also when we do the coffee break I have to take your orders, don't I? And then we take them downstairs, and then we wait for the cafe to bring the orders up, and then there's the dishing out of it, and then all of that, and that all adds extra time into a lesson. But when they're online, purely online, they're it's much more concentrated learning. And we've got the Saturday masterclass next week, which is the hair on the wooden panel, which we've got a few people joining in on, which is quite nice. I will still be serving customers at the same time, so I'll probably be glad of the break when I have to nip down because of having no Sandra. Right, so I think We'll stop there. The drawing's over. Time to call it a day. Really enjoyed that. That's nice. And hopefully you have too. So thank you so much for your company. Let me just let you know what's coming up for the rest of the week. This afternoon it's a sunset in watercolours. This evening is a talk on Discord on surrealism. Tomorrow morning is the last in the 3-week course on women artists on Discord. Friday afternoon is a moonlit scene with 2 hot air balloons. Nothing Saturday or Sunday. Monday morning's demonstration is the Lake District and Heathers are foregrounds in foreground textures in acrylics. Monday evening is the sunrise in watercolours. That is a repeat of today. Tuesday afternoon is a sunset with an elephant silhouette in acrylics. Tuesday evening is a hedgehog in acrylics. Wednesday afternoon drawing is a portrait. And next Thursday morning is a harvest scene in pastels. So lots of exciting things to look forward to. Thank you, Janet, for your company. It's lovely. Yeah, I think 2 hours is just right as well. Stops you getting too fiddly or too restless or too annoyed with yourself. So thanks ever so much. And for those who are watching on catch up, hello and goodbye. And I hope to see what you post if you feel confident to do that and what you've created. So thanks ever so much for your company and your time. And I'll see you all again soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.